everybody, my name is Nozibela Kamngana Mayaba. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have my one and only husband SG Mayaba. Skomboza Godmane Mayaba.
Skura, uskumbi, uskumbiozo, or Goodman, or Hoyeman in Afrikaans.
You silly. Can I just say, I'm so proud of you. Okay? I'm really like, you make my heart dance. Like it's doing flip-flops.
Wow.
Yes, it's doing flip-flops. Just for you. Thank you for cutting your hair. You see how handsome you are? All night long, all night.
All night.
All night long.
All night.
I will.
All night.
All night long.
Oh, it's all night long.
All night.
All night long.
All night.
Hey.
All night. Why are you personalizing it? Who sings that song?
We used to sing that. It's Lionel Richie. It's the 50s song.
Lionel Richie.
Man?
Lionel. Like
What?
Lionel Messi.
And what did I say?
Lion Rich. Azange san kaloko. Ngeke. Lionel Richie. Like
Next thing you're
Lionel
gonna say it's
Messi.
Lionel.
Lionel.
No, it's Lionel.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Oh, lion. No. Lion, it's an animal. The minute you put E-N...
You can't do that. You're turning because no one call.
What is a lion?
Lionel. Okay.
That's Lionel Messi.
Amen. Just yesterday, it was Lionel Messi.
I never said that.
Okay, it's
No,
fine. Sure.
It's
It's fine. Let's move on.
No.
Because I know.
No, we must
I know school. It was a good day, and
Baby.
we're gonna have a good night. So let's just leave it.
It's Lionel Richie. It's not lion.
Zandive.
It's
fine. That's all.
No. There's a lager. It's called lion.
A lager.
And then
What's a lager?
It's called lion. It's alcohol. That's when.
It's just that I've never drank in my life.
Yeah,
so
and then a lion is an animal. You can't say it's lion.
All night long.
Because when you say it's
All
lion,
night.
it's like it's L.
It's Lionel Richie.
It's
gonna
not
have
Lionel.
a conversation. Lionel Richie. Thank you very much. So today we want to bring an interesting topic. If you're anyone out there that is married outside your race, if you're anyone that is married outside their belief system, I believe this video is for you. This was inspired by our own journey. Obviously we're both Christians, but we attended different churches.
My mother goes to ZCC, the star one, not the one with the dove or yobe. But that happened later on in life. It's not like she was always in the church together with her children. She was not always there. So if I remember very well, we were in 3 different churches before we joined ZCC.
Yeah.
Or when I began to see things, we used to visit Ekhankele. Ekhankele apparently is in Manfred or in one of those towns. So we used to carry water, 25-liter water, go there, itandazelo and go back. So we used to travel by bus for days because the infrastructure then it was not so good. And later on, we then went to John Wesley Church. In our days, we call it Ewesil. For a better part of my life, that's where we went to. And when I was approaching junior, we then attended ZCC. When I got married, I should have firstly either have taken from the church, because if I took somebody outside the church who wouldn't understand the dynamics of the traditions of the church and wouldn't be able to adjust immediately. And some of the things that are being practiced, one who's not exposed to that would associate it with ubugqirha. And it has happened a lot of times. There are many things that are being said by people that are outside that do not understand the traditions of the church. So there's that belief that if you then marry, the person who you're going to marry should be at church, because already there's an understanding within the church system. So the expectation, therefore, it should have been there.
So the reason why I was interested in this video was because there are so many dynamics into our own journey that I thought would be helpful for people that are already married or for people that are preparing to get married, right? So just to give a little bit of a background, I grew up in a very traditional church, right? Traditional is very funny when I say traditional. It's traditional, but obviously it doesn't do any traditional ceremonies like slaughtering of cows, any type of traditional ritual. It doesn't do that. It's very traditional, but once again, a girl gets married when they're a virgin, and when you're not a virgin, it means you don't cover, or you have a child, you don't cover your veil when you're getting married, and you don't get married with a white dress. You get married with a cream dress. Okay, it's very important. So when you want to get married, I think I covered this a couple of videos ago, right? There's a specific process similar to what you just said. There's no communication between the man and the woman. Okay, when the guy has made the decision that they want to get married, they go to the pastor. The pastor prays with the guy just for reassurance that this is the right person they want to get married to. They want some sign and all of those things. Once they're sure, they bring the girl like outside the meeting with the guy. They bring the girl back. Can you go in peace and pray? Right? The girl goes and prays. Over that period of time, comes back, says yes or no. Right? Once she says yes, they're brought together in one room, and they're introduced to each other. That is the last time they see each other. And what I mean about that is that is the last time in terms of talking or engaging in any type of conversation with each other. It is strictly forbidden. Then everything else pertaining to the arrangement of the marriage, it is organized by the families. So if there's anything that I want that is very particular to my wedding, I don't go to the guy and say, oh, okay, this is actually what I like, to do. What would you like to do? No. I go to my mom and my family, and then my family engages with the guy's family. And then the guy's family engages with him. That's the line of communication. At no point should you guys be seen together during that process of getting married.
Sure.
It is forbidden. It is a sin. It's totally wrong. Okay. And now that I remember, when my brother first got married, there's an engagement party, an engagement ceremony, and my brother is not the one that takes the ring and gives it to his future bride. The sister of the brother, the future sister-in-law. So in my case, I remember very specifically, I was the one who took the ring, the engagement ring, and put it into my sister-in-law's hand. And also...
Did this happen in a church setup or outside?
And also took ikriya, I guess to indicate now she's going to be a makoti. I don't know what the kriya symbolized, the duke. So I took the duke and covered her head. And that was the engagement. And even when, I remember there were 2 chairs that were put, because it's a whole ceremony, and everyone is rejoicing. They seated in front there because they're the ones that are getting married. They're getting married. It's an engagement party. And I remember...
So this is before the lobola process?
Before the lobola process. Now that they're getting engaged, they're formally being introduced in the church.
Okay.
I remember there were 2 chairs, obviously my brother and my sister-in-law, right? And they were seated next to each other. There was a woman that raised from the audience that took another chair and put it in between the 2 of them, and I sat in between the 2 of them. So they're not there. Basically, what they're saying is they should not be together until they get married. The reason why I'm saying this is because that was also to some degree, while my mom is very lenient in some things, but the one thing that she was not, lenient about is the fact that I was marrying outside the church. And not only outside the church, I was marrying someone who has a background yobu ZCC, also someone from Elusikisiki, and also someone whose family, even though it's not him in particular, his family might be practicing into yamasiko. So what does that mean for me?
There are similarities in terms of what was being practiced in your church, and as well as ZCC. And by the way, ZCC, you don't do a masiko in the church as well. You only practice that which is prescribed by the church. I am a if you are kapela, if you remember very well when we went home over December holidays.
Yeah.
So my brothers arranged for the cleansing of Amangaba. And my mom has reached a stage where she accepts ukwenziwa komqombothi endlini, and as well as slaughtering of either chickens or goat during that process. But it's not something that was introduced by her. It was something that was practiced by our uncles. So she was always not present when that thing would happen. Or if it has happened in her presence, she would stay, I think, about 7 days. And that during that process, she would say,
Yes,
akapati, uzilile. So it's the morning process, and after the period, then she would Sandra different dialas too, as part of the cleansing.
See, the thing is, it's the ignorance of not knowing all of that before I got married. And similar to my mom's, if you are used to one doctrine, and you believe that doctrine is the right one, and eyona writing, eyona iphilisayo, the one that God has blessed, for the next generations to come, anything engenye is totally against what you believe in.
I think it's generally a biggest mistake that we people make by thinking that our way is the correct way. There's no other way. It's the biggest mistake that we always make ever.
When I now decided I'm going to get married, even though I didn't go through the whole process of kuthiwa ndiyasikwa, from being a full member of the church, meaning that certain rights. Why you like that? This is the thing. Before but then obviously, but getting married is a totally different ballgame. It's the formality that comes with marriage, it's very offensive when you did that.
Especially the last ones, the two last ones before me. And there are similarities in terms of names. And their names, they start with B. Hey, I just don't know what happened to me.
Then not both of them start with B.
Both of them must.
Don't lie.
Almost. Go banana come up. Ubani.
So even though zange bathi okay uyasikwa, but it was quite obvious uvange conversations here and there. One, there was an interest in terms of who you were, and did you have money, where did you work, and what kind of person are you, where are you from, why is she marrying outside the church, and like a whole thing around an interest around you and the kind of person that I was marrying. And mama, once again, I don't know whether Nzotibana, she felt embarrassed or anything like that. In some cases, she'll even go like be ahead of the conversation. But hi kaloku, uyabazonozi, we siyabakhulisa right, and then phakathi nendlela baphambane neemfundiso ebakhuliswe ngazo. Yabona ngoku ke utshate umuntu ngaphandle abakholwa kaloku nozi. Direct translation is that because now I've married someone outside the church, just because they don't know them, it directly translates by lo muntu is not saved. And secondly, also now I've also changed my beliefs. Now I'm also not saved. I'm also not Christian anymore.
Actually, very valid. If you think of it, it's very valid, because also when you meet somebody who's totally different in terms of what you believe in, it becomes a daunting challenge when you guys, start your own relationship or you start your own family. So there's a constant clash between the two of you. I think for me, it actually makes sense that, Imi is going to marry Kwitawe Gamalatis, and that's Tata Wake. Because those children in the church, they are taught by Utadagai.
Okay.
So they won't go wrong when they marry Mdana Wake.
There was a girl who also grew up in the church, but along the lines, you get your data, but then eventually now this person wants to marry us, and then we decide, okay, we're gonna go with this person to get married. The person now turned out to be like a former gangster, but then we had believed Galoko he turned his life around and all of those things. Even though after they got married, he still didn't but he would allow the girl to go to church. But what was very odd about his behavior is that in between like the church, like halfway through the church, and we know bana ngumgulo mfana, and then she'll have to leave.
Come out
so she'll have to leave. Yamana bahambe ke ngoku icacile kuye iphelile icawa, and it ended up like really really badly because wade waphu kwafuneka ngokubana aphume totally pha ecaweni, because of lo mfana wayengade ayive ncamncam lento yobana uzoya ecaweni every Sunday. Now there was a situation where it got bad, it turned physical. It turned like it was really abusive. She had to now go back home. And there was one day where he went to see her at home. Upon not refusing to see him, lo mfana xa ehamba nentombazane isiyothenga evenkileni, kanti lo mfana lapha uselapha phandle. Like he stabbed her to death, broad daylight in front of people. And that was the end of her. It was a constant reminder at church, by marrying people that we do not know. Let me bring another side to the story. Let's say, okay, in our sake, although we're not married, in the same church, it's okay, but our belief systems are the same. Our belief systems are the same in terms of how we want to raise our children, in terms of how we see life, and all sorts of things. It's easy like that. But now, every December, I need to go to a Sikisik galok.
Yes, galok mumdana wasel Sikisik.
Yes. And if I figure Sikisik, my brother-in-law, the graves are being cleaned. And as part of that, there's a whole ceremony that follows. There's a mkomboti that is being sealed. There's also a chicken that's being slaughtered.
And it's not any other chicken. There's a specific chicken. You can't take lamb tutu.
Like I've never started any chickens and then I've never sealed any mkombot. And also when I'm there to do siki and then there's a traditional tonton ceremony that's happening next door.
You have to attend.
As a makoti, I'm expected to also attend. Yeah, it's courtesy, it's human, ubuntu londele, because at the end of the day, when something happens at my in-laws, the whole community will also gather together. So I can't just say,
No, you can't.
no, my belief system do not align with what you are doing. Yeah, so how also would you advise someone to navigate ezazinto? Because I know some marriages have had a tough time
Because
adjusting to those things.
Yeah, you-
Hayi ke mna zange ndaqhutha ngoku. Zange ndasila mqombothi.
I think mna, I was lucky in the sense that I then got you, who at least, have that level of understanding. There are things that are being done that we do not know in Tsingiselo zabo. Unfortunately, we cannot define everything. And the way I was made to understand and to accept what we do when we clean amangcwaba at home. My mom, what? You know what? Vele uyithathe kanje le nto lena. I know sindisiwe. But vele uyithathe ba phayana kuthengwe phayana i-king corn.
Okay.
Yabiliswa namanzi. Yavutyelwa, yahlala phaya over certain days. Emveni koko yalanda yakhanywa. Abantu bayasela. Okanye ngumbona obolileyo oye wakweca wabiliswa wagutywa wakweca wabiliswa emveni koko basela.
Let me say this. I went in there already, like prepared myself.
Don't care because
I wanted a marriage. That's number one. Nam because the reason why it was easy for me was because I had already prepared myself. Okay, I had already listed all the good things that I want to come out of, this marriage, this union, all the good things that I'm expecting. And I also listed some of the challenges that I'm foreseeing. Also are happening within this marriage. For example, also the fact that I've never killed a chicken and kutelanga. I've never performed any traditional rituals or anything like that. In a case where I will have to now go to the neighbors and Nadisa there when there's a traditional ceremony or when there's an event. How would I handle that situation? I listed all of those things. And I looked at myself and I'm like, will I be able to withstand all of that in that marriage? I could manage that. Because what I was preparing myself is that I did not want to enter the marriage under the pretense that no, these things will not happen. Because that's when I'm going to resist even further and there's going to be conflict between the two of us. And I think that's the one mistake that we often make. Sometimes we are this thing might happen. Okanye into enjena ndingadibana nayo. But then uphinde uthi man suka like sayibona ngoko. Okanye ungafuni entertainer la thought.
But then when it happens,
And then when it happens, you're like, hi, ndangacinga hlobo. No, baby, it has always been like this.
And then you end up finding a husband going home alone.
Because awufuni ngokuya elankeni emzini akho, but then
certain things that are being practiced.
Ubuyazi kasekuqaleni sikhulu bana kulo mfana kusekwe kwenziwa amasiko. And as a wife I'm going to be expected bana mandiye kokwabo. Yabona indlela ngithetha ngayo.
Before you even commit to this person, you need to proactively think about the things that might happen.
Absolutely.
And ask yourself your state of readiness.
Yes.
If these things that you've never been exposed to happen, what are you gonna do?
What are you going to do?
Bona utshata ecaweni kamama wakho.
Yeah.
So ayikho into yokuba ugalelwe inyongo ngoku.
Nyonga yena.
Okay.
Nyonga yena. There's no nyong.
Kutsho amasho kaloku amasho
There's no nyong. I remember in my previous relationship, the one thing that I had a challenge with, is the rituals, right? There's one thing not believing in rituals, and there's another thing when you need to perform the rituals, and there was one question I would often ask him. I'm like, listen, we need to talk about them children when we have them, in a case where we have children, he believes strongly in rituals. It was not a matter of, but okay, at least because we believe in the same thing. So we were not on the same page in terms of our beliefs. So okay, in a case then we need to raise our children. I want to raise my child in a Christian manner, in a church, no rituals or anything like that. So let's make it a
So did you have reasons for you not wanting that to happen?
My reasons for not wanting that was because I've never been exposed to those rituals. The one thing I'll ask Ngo nditi bana kuye, by rituals I mean imbeleko, stuff like that, where a goat needs to be slaughtered for the child and all sorts of things. The child is being introduced to the ancestors. So I'll often ask Ngo bana, so in a case where let's say a child is sick, the first thought to me is to go to the doctor, and to go to umfundisi to tandazela the child, to pray over the child. The child continues being sick. The child continues being sick. In that instant, what is your role, Yamwana, in terms of that situation, right? And then he says, no, Galok, I'm not going to let my child die, because if ndiyabona bana inida yabona into ezifana nezambeleko, introducing to the ancestors, into ezinjalo, then that's what we're going to do. And
then
like,
you were against that. Let me tell you a story here regarding that.
I'm not gonna do that.
Let me tell you a story here regarding that. So mama wami, so my father decided to say, I say pregnant. According to the story, that say I was pika, in other words, didn't want to take responsibility of that. Believe that there is somebody else who had made my mom nzima. So when I was born, unfortunately, I was born exactly like my father. So my father being nayo middle two. Dazalwa exactly namdingenayo the middle two. And so later I because of egos kamam and my dad, so they didn't want to talk, and I became sick. So apparently I would cry for hours and hours and hours. Would take me to the clinic, doctor, and nothing worked. And somebody firstly appeared in my mother's dreams, and then wafika payan wati, your child right needs to go to Glotata wak introduce kwi ancestors sapayan. So the day I was then taken to the father's side, kwachoke nangule ulenti umali phathe ngobungcwele, usikhumbuzo sikaNomhle, ungunyana kaThamsanqa.
That's when you
stopped. All of that went away.
Sure. I'm not ashamed. It's very difficult, guys, because I'm going in such a case. I'm going to argue, man. I've never been introduced to my dad's family, to the ancestors. I've never been introduced.
Then the question is, gonna allow your child to be sick forever? That's the thing.
So once again, my stand is, do not. Obviously, we're all blinded by love. When we're in love, we're gonna want to get married and all sorts of things. But these are the most important conversations to have. Don't shy away from them. And as I continue to say, the person that you're exposed to before getting married, the person that you're exposed to before getting married, the things that you're exposed to before getting married, rest assured that they are going to pop up when you get married, in the marriage themselves. So whatever oibonayo that you're like, okay, this is not very nice.
And yet there are people that are good at, observing the situation, but because they love you,
Yeah.
they then say, okay, I'm going to let go of my side and cling towards how you do things.
Yeah.
Guess what? Fully. So you need to be careful of that because it's actually not going to last forever.
Yeah.
So it's important that you therefore confront these things at an early stage. I'm now
Ban. Shu. Hayi. Masikhosi ke one mazaqeqeshwa. Bafuneke ndenze umqombothi ndawenza.
Bafuna ugalelwe inyongo phaa.
Ndayigalela inyongo. Son, sister-in-law wam wandithi ulanto ku-brother-in-law wam wayethi chokochoko apha enyongo.
Athi John Kane enzeli
ndanikezela ndanikezela lona zandibuze bana yeyantoni kathini bathi wafika my brother-in-law wandithi chokochoko inyongo apha entloko and then waphuma and then my sister-in-law wandichokozela apha elankeni esandleni wathi mandithi ndayithi
befanele uba ngawukwenza yena ifakwe apha futhi ifakwe phaa kunosisi
suyakuthanda uxoke wena
ndingathanda ngecawa laa nyongo igalelwa phayana kunosisi
hayi wathi mandiyapha elankeni
kutsha le mimoya imidaka imihlanu
uyathanda uxoka
inene inene nyhani
laa nyongo wayefaka apha emathangeni emathangeni but again that's not the point wayefaka apha emathangeni zange ndibuze noba yanto
zangayifake phaa thini thizi yiyo le nto ugeza kangaka masumane undivimba yabona uba ifake phaa every day
uyadikana siwe
anyway choko nje yadikana Como aí picharres. Só não vai.
Anyway, anything I was like, you know what, I'm going to withstand it all. Also the one thing that I think helps me a lot, is that I've never pretended to be anyone I'm not. My mother-in-law knows I can't slaughter a chicken, and I think she knows that I can't slaughter a chicken, and she's fine with that. But I think what works, and this is from my own opinion, and that's why my brother-in-law is also a person that's very willing to assist me with things as well, is the willingness. To want to.
And wholeheartedly, not half-heartedly.
No.
Because one can see.
Yeah, no, it's wholeheartedly and say, okay, but I wanna try. I wanna learn. I want to see how it's done. So that eventually ndizokwazi. Xa sofika ngoku emzini abantu seke sewuthe impumlo. Son, it's not right. Hey.
This is insipho zakho.
Hayi ke zona sana ndiyangazo zinjeni. Hayi ndizayangazo zinjeni and ndiva sena. Anyway, guys, I hope this video has really helped. This is a conversation that we've been having lately, just reflecting on our own journey, and how we've overcome some few challenges.
And how God has been good to us.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to what the next couple of years, will bring.
Guys, thank you so much for watching and always supporting us. We do appreciate those comments, and believe us, we read all of them. So we do appreciate them. Tell us your stories,
you sound like a present.
Views, your opinion, your comments, and how do you do things, and how would you, come across these things. And believe me and you, we learn. One of the comments said, I think these conversations that these guys are having, they're also actually learning one another as well. And guess what? I couldn't agree more with that person. We are also learning.
Yeah.
Yes, it's our experiences, but there's certain things that I discover about Asake whilst we're here.
Yeah, it's true, guys. I mean, when we have these conversations, it's not only for entertainment purposes, but it's really also just, oh, let's talk. You know, let's have a
How do we do
conversation.
things?
What has happened in the past? Do you remember this? What if we could happen in the future once again? And all of those things. So they're as helpful to us as they are to you. Yeah, man. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for joining us.